Hello, just so you can see me. Hello, my name is Dr. Nikitah Okembe-RA Imani. I am the former chair and professor at the Department of Black Studies at the University of Nebraska, Omaha. You may wonder why I'm coming to you today. The first thing I should probably say is that I'm coming to you from my lovely home. So if you see some kind of strange background that doesn't look like the university, that's because it's not the university, it's actually my home right here in Omaha. And it's appropriate, really, that I'm coming to you from my home, because what I want to talk to you about today for a few minutes is this concept of home, which is very, very important in the African tradition. For 4 years, we spend our time working on assignments and papers and reports and doing research and doing whatever it is that we do here at the university in our various disciplines and departments and majors and minors. And then at some point at the end of that process, we experience this thing called graduation, where we're presented with a documentation that says we have completed that, and we prepare ourselves to enter the world either in a graduate school setting or in a professional work setting, but essentially to go on with the rest of our lives. Every culture, every society has a ritual that allows young people, as they complete school, as they complete a certain phase of their adolescence, to be recognized and to be held up as having achieved that level of accomplishment and moved on. In the African tradition, we recognize that, but we recognize it culturally. We recognize that as academics, you're going to make tremendous contributions to our various disciplines and areas that you're going to go into in society and hopefully in the world, for yourself, for your family, for your communities, for the nation, hopefully for the world as a whole. But at the same time, we want you to remember home, because most of you either come from or have in some way been influenced by the Africana tradition. What is the Africana tradition? It's the thoughts, the ideas, the cultural products, the philosophies, all of the things that Africana people throughout the world, both at home in Africa and throughout all parts of the African diaspora, where African people are dispersed throughout the world, all of them have made this contribution and have set the table, and everyone in the world, all of us, one way or another, participates in that. Some of us participate in that very directly, through our own ethnic or cultural lineage. Others participate not so much from our own individual ethnicity or culture, but we participate in all the things in society and in ideas and in systems and tools that Africana people have developed. Maybe it's just turning on the radio and enjoying some music that comes out of the Africana tradition, or maybe it's wearing an item of clothing that is crafted in that tradition, or maybe it's a theory or an idea that you apply in a paper, or maybe it's a way of speaking or type of program, theological worship, or a way of singing and expressing oneself. All of that is part of the Africana tradition. We hope during your time at the university that you've been touched by that in some way. And when I became chair of the Department of Black Studies, I started something called the Donning of the Kente. And the purpose of the Donning of the Kente was to recognize those who, at one level, had completed their undergraduate or graduate studies at the university. But I wanted to do a little bit more than simply acknowledge the graduation. I also wanted to acknowledge a cultural and social exchange relationship. One part of that exchange is that the students and the people that we recognized with the Kente were people who acknowledged and accepted the fact that the Africana tradition had contributed to all they had become and who they were today, right? The other part was that these individuals also made a commitment to the Africana community to make a reciprocal contribution. How do you make a reciprocal contribution? You make it when you do good. There's an ancient African proverb that roughly translated in English means do good. Do good where you are, do good when you can, do good how you can, do good. And so the Kente cloth for us and the ceremony of presenting it to those who were graduating was our way of saying, you have done good, you have done well, we recognize it, we honor you, we applaud you. And now we want you to go out and do more good and make a difference for our community, for the nation, for the world. And why did we choose Kente? We certainly could have given out African canes or medallions or something else. There certainly are other African cultural artifacts, but we chose the Kente because the Kente has cultural significance for many groups in the African tradition. It identifies them, first of all, as a part of those communities, right? Those communities which make that cloth. It identifies you with the labor that goes into the production of that. Each thread, each element, each color of the cloth is designed to communicate something about the story of the people. Well, of course, for many of our graduates, we don't know those stories. We don't know those threads, but we do know that they're there. And we want to recognize them symbolically, if not substantively. And so that's why we offer the Kente. Not merely as a piece of clothing. You'll have a lot of clothing at graduation. You have the cap and the gown and the big, I used to call it the monkey suit, the big thing. And we all walk around and throw the mortarboard and stuff. And that's all a lot of fun. But I'd like you to reflect for at least a moment on the Kente. If you come by the office and you receive one, and normally I would present it to you personally, and we would engage in a lot of cultural infrastructure rituals to give it to you. But obviously in the context of COVID and many things that are going on, we aren't able to do that. But I do want you, as you take it with you, to understand what it is that you're taking with you, not just a fabric, a piece of cloth, not just a token of esteem, if you will, from our department, but that you're taking just a little piece of what Africana has presented to the world. And we're challenging you to make a lot of that piece, and maybe even make peace with that piece. Again, my name is Dr. Nikitah Okembe-RA Imani. For those of you who are graduating, congratulations. Don the Kente, not just physically, but don it in your spirit and in your heart. And I thank you for your time.